Arya, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. How are you doing?
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Very busy day, but I guess that's good, right? What about you?
Indeed, as well. I was great. Yeah, you are the founder of one of the most well-known and reputable agencies in the Web3 space, Cryptic. You've been around in the industry for over 5 years, and you've been working with endless amount of projects out there. I just wanted to
Mm,
learn a little bit about what makes Cryptic stand out in this very competitive landscape of Web3 agencies. What really differentiates you from others?
yeah. So we started around 5 years ago, as you mentioned. And when we started, I would say it was basically the Wild West, and it still kind of is the marketing space, right? In crypto. A lot of agencies, they resell services or they don't really have that much expertise. They just simply manage a couple of KOLs and sell that. I would say our competitive edge is we also have knowledge and expertise on strategy. So when we started 5 years ago, we were mostly focused on ICO marketing, helping with fundraising and go-to-market strategy, launching tokens. Nowadays, we're more focused on ecosystems, changes, and the bigger companies, you can say. I would compare ourselves more to a big four company. As you can say, in the Web2 or the normal world, you have these consultancy companies. So we help projects with acceleration, but also with strategy. It's more of a long-term approach when a lot of agencies have a short-term approach and they do like short-term deals. We try to actually achieve results. So everything we do is KPI driven, data driven. We have our own database as well with all our campaigns and our KOLs. We make sure we track what is performing well, what is not. So I want to make sure everything we do is evaluated. So to put it very shortly, KPI driven, data driven, and a team of experts, I would say.
Mm. I say, actually, I really agree with you on this point here that the wholesome approach to marketing is actually incredibly important. Working in this field as well for almost 5, 6 years, I see a lot of agencies just delivering just one part of a service
Mm,
where it actually never helps the long-term goal of the company. Especially in this industry, I think you would agree with me. The biggest problem is that a lot of founders are only looking at one main KPI for the token price, right? I think you've seen a lot of founders at different stages. So the most difficult part of Web3 marketing is that you have people who want token price and growth and engagement and
mm,
user base. But on the other side, you have products which are yet unfinished, user journeys or UX and UI which are not user friendly, no real use cases for specific products. So
mm.
you just have those two different sides. What do you think of it? How do you see the most difficult part of Web3 marketing and how you've been able to actually help your clients solve it?
A very good point. I think managing expectations is quite important in crypto because a lot of tokens or a lot of projects they want to have the token price going up or the market cap increase, more holders, etc. But then they have a very limited budget or they want to have results when they don't have a long-term approach. I believe it's all or the best marketing is organic growth, having more users, having more word of mouth and actual people that enjoy using of your product. And in most cases, people are chasing short-term gains and short-term marketing as well. So whenever we have a client that comes to us or request with fundraising or let's say post-launch marketing strategy, and they have a very short-term vision, it's a really big red flag for us. We mostly decline those. We try to have a more of a long-term approach, so like at least 3 months of collaboration or 6 months or 9 months. And we do have KPIs, but of course we're not market makers. We cannot, and even a market maker cannot promise that. You can't pump a token. It doesn't make any sense. And even if you do, it's going to be very unsustainable for the token and the holders as well. You want to make sure you have good organic growth when you have a lot of users and new users that enjoy your project and your utilities. So, for example, Kaito could be a very good example of how they launched it, for example, and the users, the people that are using it, it's attracting a lot more users every week, you can say, and the token is also reflecting that, right? You can see the token price is increasing because people enjoy using it, while people are getting onboarded because the product itself is quite good. So that's the best marketing. If you have a good product and the internal, let's say, the marketing is good, you don't need to do much external marketing, to be honest with you, because word of mouth is the best marketing. And in crypto, it's all about community and narrative. So just focusing on the product and attracting users is the best marketing, in my opinion. You can, of course, still use other agencies and you can still do strategies with marketing, pay KOLs, or do campaigns with PR, but the priority should be on your own team, your product, and also organic growth. You should never rush it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, this is unfortunately what you see other products doing where they have difficult products or not such good of a use case. They go down the route of just hype marketing, just maximizing whatever kind of attention you can get, but it never ends up well. So maybe you can share some efficient strategies of user acquisition because like, I'm just coming back from token as you are, and I think the most conversations we've heard there is that everybody's searching for new users, right? We need more users. I mean, this industry is kind of small, right? It's only 8% of the world after 16 years of Bitcoin
Mm.
using crypto, actually. So everybody's, just searching for those users and trying to find users in a very botted world right now. I think it's very difficult. So, what are the best strategies for user acquisition that you would advise your clients?
I mean, it depends on the client, of course. If every project has a different, let's say, use case and also different reach. For example, if you're in gaming, it's a very different approach that you have with a layer one. I think one of the best ways to attract users is by doing founder-led marketing, having the founder as a docs person that also speaks and has a good founder brand. That's very important. Besides that, you can do Twitter Spaces and like podcast, engaging with the community a lot. Besides that, like you can say growth hacking, airdrop, stuff like that, but it won't attract real users. These will be people that are bounty hunters. They're just chasing the tokens, right? If you want to attract users, it's all about community. You have to see your community and treat them as stakeholders in your project. Twitter Spaces, for example, or AMAs are a good way to communicate with them and be transparent. I think one of the key things that you want to be in crypto or as a team is being transparent, making sure your community is also involved, knows what you're doing, attracting new users. I think just the founder brand is very important in crypto, especially in a world where everyone is not doxed and hiding, you can say. If you're a dox person or a dox team, try to engage with people. That's going to be very useful, especially on Twitter, for example, or LinkedIn. Let me ask you, what is your opinion on this? The users. What has worked for you in the past?
I
I'm
would agree
curious.
with everything. I would agree with everything you said, especially with being more transparent about the team and we're
Mm,
driving those personal brand of our founder. I've been experimenting with a lot of user acquisition products like Sweat Economy, A Labs, those kind of platforms. The difficulty when you test those platforms is really to understand where the traffic is really coming from. So when you're looking at Sweat Economy, for example, they have a huge user base of their own users, and it's
mm,
very clear that those users are real. And this becomes my biggest concern because just pumping numbers has become extremely easy, right? But what are those metrics for? They bring no use really. So the problem I think of all marketeers right now is actually finding real good sources of where you can drive traffic from and
yeah.
making sure the sources are legit because this is the biggest problem. Hundreds, thousands of viewers on X, nobody's using my platform. So there's an issue there.
Exactly. You can attract users or people that see or follow your Twitter or maybe use your product or your game, for example, but they will not be retained. They will not stay active, right? So having a very good product is very important. That's one thing. Besides that, you can use funnels or platforms, as you mentioned, maybe like Galaxy or Tascon. But if you have a very good product and you can also simplify things, that's the best way, I think, to attract, but also to retain users and make sure they keep on using it. Because a lot of crypto is like, it's tech, right? Or it's complicated. If you find a way to market it and simplify it, build a narrative properly, that's the best way to attract new people, in my opinion. But also the new market, the retail market, right?
Yeah, indeed. By the way, have you heard of the new movement basically of putting AI agents as the new middle ground between the users and the technology? Because, like, looking at a lot of our tech and Web3, it's extremely complicated, right? Now, our AI agents are just like on the rise of
Mm,
becoming that middleman, which can actually simplify onboarding of those users. Actually, spoken with a couple of projects who have started to use AI agents as this interface. I'm also interested to see if you've been seeing this in the industry that somebody else is
mm.
doing that. Maybe some insights on what are you guys personally doing at Cryptic by using like what AI tools are you using to actually deliver better results for your clients?
No. Let me go back to the last question, by the way. I forgot to mention one point. I think education is something very significant as well. And what I meant with founder brand building as well is that you educate your community and also people about your product. So if you are a proper founder, you should be the best salesperson, and you should be able to simplify it and make sure people understand what you're doing. So a lot of layer ones or RWA projects, I think that the most successful ones, they're all focusing on their messaging and also the way they educate their community and also attract new people. So educational content is also very important, simplifying things.
Yeah.
and having a good founder brand, or the team should be very like speaking up, like having a good personal brand, I would say is very important. And of course, using these platforms, as you mentioned. Regarding AI, of course, AI has been on the rise for the last couple of years after ChatGPT. There is nobody denying that. I think everyone uses it. In our team, we mostly use it here and there for proposals, automation. We have our own KOL database. We also use AI for updating that and like making KOL packages, marketing packages here and there. We are currently working on a software. We already have a software actually that tracks KOL data. We're trying to make that more of a, let's say, AI agent that can advise projects on their go-to-market strategy or which KOLs to pick based on our previous experiences. So that's something we're working on. And I believe that AI will basically take over most of the marketing agencies, but also in Web2 or in the real world. I think it
Mm.
will replace a lot of consultancy and marketing. Even if you look at Canva, right? Canva Create, I think the name was Canva Pro, or like the AI feature they have. They are making designs that are better than most of these Fiverr guys do, or most of the freelancers I've seen. Of course, there are still a lot of top designers, but I mean, it's quite efficient. It's quick. I think designing, marketing, and a lot of the marketing agencies will be sidelined by AI. We want to be part of that as well. So we are working on our own AI tool that can give help or give advice to projects, basically trained by us, by our data and our systems that we have, and our own KOL database, for example, for services. So it can advise projects based on our past experiences. And I think in maybe 2 or 3 years, or let's say max 5 years, most of the agencies I think will be replaced. And I think that could actually, or it will be a very good thing. It makes more things a lot more efficient. And a lot of agencies that resell services, or they're not really very experienced. So I think it's good to have a tool like that, because I have noticed we have worked with a couple of very like bigger ecosystems or even exchanges, and they don't really like to work with agencies. Many of them had bad experiences with other agencies, and they got overcharged or whatever,
Mm.
and then sometimes they even got scammed, right? So it's a bit tricky. They don't really like to work with agencies. I think they would trust it a lot more if they have their own, let's say, tool or a dashboard where they can overview all the marketing and just pick and match what they want, and they're in control. I think that's also the reason why Kaito, for example, is very popular, or Cookie Tree, or these other platforms,
Mhm.
because, for example, foundations, they like to be in control, or Bybit, or I don't know, Binance. They have their own marketing teams. They just want to have data they can use. So I do believe the marketing agencies will be disappearing, most of them, but the top ones will, of course, stay. There's so much expertise, of course, to still be shared. And you also have the network you have. But most of the, let's say, average or lower quality ones will be disappearing. I think so.
Yeah, this definitely makes sense. I think it's not only the marketing agencies; it's a lot of the companies out there who do not adapt to AI technologies. They will become obsolete down the line of maybe 12 months, so slightly more, slightly less. So, really happy to hear that you guys are on the right track because, I mean, as just you mentioned, I think it just amplifies basically what humans
Mhm.
can do, and but as long as you have the expertise behind those powerful tools, I think that's the important element over here. So, very
Mhm.
cool. Basically how the next 12 months develops in the AI, in AI marketing kind of field. Very exciting.
Mhm.
I just wanted to ask you one more question, and slightly strategic one, because you work with so many clients and you've been in those markets and when there were ups and downs. And I wanted to understand basically what do you think? There was so much talk, especially past 2 months, about when the market sentiment was a bit low, about what do we do with our marketing budget? Do we invest it
Mhm.
or do we not invest it? So I wanted to understand how you think of basically how does the market sentiment and marketing efforts play off together? Does real good marketing really pay off even in bearish kind of markets or not?
It depends on what in what stage you are, but I would say we at Cryptic don't really give too much value to the market itself, because some of the best launches out there were done in the bad markets. I think it says something about like, I mean, a lot of projects are waiting for a good market, right? Or good market. I mean, how can you define a good market? I mean, Bitcoin is at 100K, ETH is like on the rise as well. I mean, there's more adoption than ever, right? So I wouldn't say it's a bad market at all. Like last week, it was a bad market. Now it's a good market, if you
Mm.
have to believe the traders. So I wouldn't say per se it's a bad market at all. But even if you would say this is a bad market, we had a couple of launches last weeks and they all did quite well. I think you are more unique when you launch, when there is less going on, because you get more attention. You have to see it as this. Let's say you go to you're based in you're based in Lebanon, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sure you have a lot of like strips and like beach clubs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you go to like the strip and you see like hundreds of beach clubs. Like picking one is going to be more complicated. The same with projects. If you have hundreds of projects launching in the same week, you won't be investing in all of them. But when you see like only five or like one top one, or it's only like three beach clubs, you have less choice. You have to pick one of them. The same goes for projects and investing. Maybe not the best comparison, but I mean, it's very simple. When there are less project launching, you're more unique. So you have more liquidity to capture, you can say, and there's also more attention to be captured. And for example, I mean, Kaito did quite well the last months. It's because they are building and they have something that people use. It's not per se good or bad market, I would say. So we always advise projects to like not consider the market too much, to be honest.
Mhm.
I don't think it's something, like, of course, you can take it in consideration. In a good market, of course, marketing might be more effective, timing, but you can't really time the market. Same as a trader, you can't really time it. You can't sell the top or buy the top. Same goes with marketing. It can make it stronger when you do good marketing and the market goes up as well, or there's a narrative or some news comes out, but you should not count on it. You should be in control of the marketing and have a plan ahead. And then you can always be flexible. When something happens, you can always be flexible and pause the budget or to do something else. But I think marketing is one of the most important things in crypto. Having a good marketing strategy is very important. So I don't think you should be dependent on the market and if it goes up or down. That's how we see it at Cryptic.
Yeah, I do tend to agree with you here. But speaking to different founders out there, people because they're very unsure of their product, maybe they're very unsure that they actually will bring them users. They also always try to time it with a better market sentiment going upward, but because they're slightly more cautious of spending their budget. But yeah,
Yeah.
what you're saying here, you're completely correct. Maybe on just the last note, you mentioned a very important part here that Web3 market is incredibly important, and the holistic approach to Web3 market is incredibly important. Maybe what are your kind of last words to founders out there who do not
Yeah.
have a strict, holistic approach to Web3 marketing, and what kind of service crypto actually deliver to them
Yeah.
if they reach out to you?
Let me just add something to the last point, the last question you had. And I didn't name the projects, I think, did I? But for example, the second biggest token, Ethereum, Ethereum launched or ETH launched in a bear market. So did I
Yeah.
think Chainlink. Like some of the major projects and companies launched in bad markets, you can say. And there
Mhm.
was this quote from Steve Jobs as well. I remember Steve Jobs when they beat Microsoft in market cap or in stock shares, whatever. He sent an email out and he said, "Let's just keep on working." Like just as a builder, you should be focused on building and not on the market price or the token price. If that's your intention, you have a short-term vision. You should be focusing on the longer horizon and not just, okay, we launch here, we do 10x or whatever X here will be a good market and we make more money, whatever. I don't think that's the right approach. I think you
Mm.
should always look at like years ahead and what you want to build. And what you mentioned, a lot of people are actually not confident in their product and they are not building for the long term. So it might be the main reason why they're looking for good markets to launch because they don't have something to contribute to the market. So that's my view on that, a bit more in detail and with a couple of examples. The
Mm.
last question, the holistic approach. I think the thing with a lot of crypto companies is they're trying to be a one-stop shop. Even market makers offer marketing as well. I'm not sure if you knew. A
Yes,
lot of
yes.
different companies, launchpads are glorified marketing agencies. A lot of different companies offer their own marketing or they are turning it into a market maker or launchpad, which I guess it makes sense because you already like have some market that you captured and you can expand. And there's not that much competition in crypto, right? So it is quite logical. But I would say leave it to the experts. Like for example, marketing. I can tell you we have had a lot of failures as well, where like lessons or clients that something went wrong with, you learn from it. Marketing is very different than market making or launchpads. Yeah. So whenever a client comes in, we always do like a free like marketing audit. That's the way we can, of course, help for free because a lot of projects they don't really know how to do the marketing themselves or where it's lacking. I would say the first thing is we look at the, let's say, the internal like marketing, the design, the branding, the materials, the way they're trying to build a narrative, the focus on community. Besides that, of course, the competitors, the metrics as well, statistics. But we do like an audit of everything, basically, just like consultants would do, and then we discuss it with the client or the lead in this case. We go over it and like advise them on what we can help them with the strategy. We're always open-minded to like discuss how we can work together. But of course, we prefer to work with clients that are already developed, they have an MVP or they're already closer to their launch, so they already have something done and they just want to have a good marketing strategy to put it out there. So that's mainly our focus as of now. And we're always open to help people, even for free, with a marketing audit to guide them on how they can improve. Even if they don't proceed with us, I mean, it's still very helpful. and we know which marketing agencies or venture capitals or who is useful in early stages and late stages as well. So we try to advise as much as possible and make sure that the right builders get the right connections, and we can support them in even early stages as well, or helping them with growing.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm on a similar mission. This is why I'm running this podcast, so I can actually educate other entrepreneurs and marketeers out there, having been in the industry for a while, who are the right companies. So it's really a pleasure to speak with you, Arya, and knowing your team and working with you for a
Really.
while. I understand that you guys are doing the right thing, and your approach to marketing is exactly what it has to be. So I really thank you for your time today for this wonderful podcast. And for anybody who wants to reach out to you, your name is on the screen. You can find you on LinkedIn. And just thank you for being here today. And I look forward to speaking to you again and doing a lot of more work with you and your team together.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
pleasure, and thank you for having me. You're doing amazing with the podcast, by the way. Keep it up.
Thank